Just when you thought Brunhilde couldn't get any better, guess what? It did. Updated Brunhilde deck time, guys. A little slurp a derp of my tea, and let's get into this. So Brunhilde, guys, I don't know if you knew this, but I like darkness decks. I've never been a big fan of light decks. Nothing against light decks. It's just one of the things I was taught when I started playing this game right off the bat is Masterfeja. Gaining life can't win you games. You know, it makes the game stupidly long. Your opponent's gonna build up way too much board stay, and then they're gonna use that and smash you into tiny little light bits, and then be like, shabam wham, get out of my face, ma'am. But then this little gal, this little crazy gal named Brunhilde came along. She's like, guess what, Masterfeja? Unlearn everything you knew about light, unlearn everything you knew about life gain, and let's get into smash and face, while also just laughing at them hitting us for absolutely no damage because we got way too much life. So I'm gonna fly through this deck, guys. You guys know what Brunhilde does. You've seen the videos. You've seen my past deck profiles, hopefully. But I'm gonna show you the improvements. So I'll go over every card, but I won't go into too much detail on the old stuff. Brunhilde, you know what she does. You know what she does on the other side. I'm gonna put her down. If you don't, there will definitely be one of those little pop-up thingamajigs near the bottom of the screen at the end of the video for the previous deck build where I went into a lot more detail on what everything does, but I am gonna talk about the new stuff. So, as before, guys, I run 4 of the Quick Cast Chant Flourishing Hope, 3 normals, and of course a gorgeous full art. And this is just to keep stuff alive, because people are going to want to kill our stuff because it's kind of crazy, and it gets big, and it gets annoying. So I run 4 of Flourishing Hopes. Whoop-a-doop-a-doo. As before, I also run 3, not 4, goodness, and 1 Inglorious Full Art of Protection of the Angels. This is also to keep our Resonators alive, and it works really well with Xiang, the Panda Prince, because if you buff him, or even something with Drain, you give him a buff, it can't be chased, it gives him Barrier, and then you block and you gain a bunch of life. This also works really, really well with Valkyrie Spear, because it does the damage of your highest cost J Resonator to your opponent, and you gain that much life. So if you just buffed it by 8/8, of course you have to do this during your opponent's turn, you just gained another 8 and did an additional 8 damage to that Resonator that you're targeting. So I run 3 of Protection of the Angels. I don't even know how this ruler kind of snuck into my world just out of nowhere. It's weird how much I enjoy playing her. I'm kind of hoping that somehow they find a way to bring Cthulhu's back as a really good Resonator type, but I kind of doubt it. And it's weird because other than the ruler, I don't really even like Valkyries per se. They're not a very good Resonator type right now. They got some interesting stuff going for them, but I don't know if I'll ever make a Valkyrie tribal deck. It's just not like, it's like, you know? So I run 3 and 1 full art of the Quick Cast Chant Resuscitating Will. Resuscitating Will. Quick Cast, recover target J/Resonator. This could be the thing that helps you swing again to win, or it could be the thing that helps you gain another 10 bazillion life because you swung with something buffed with Drain twice. So, just a good card. I run 3 of these bad boys. Okay, here's our first new addition to this Mega Life Gain Super Smashy awesome deck. I run 3, and 2 of them in gorgeous full art, of the new chant, Blade of Faith, which is actually a chant master rune for Divinity 2, but we run them only in our deck, and I think I've got 1 in sideboard, so you don't have to worry about the Divinity part. It is usually a 3 cost 1 light, 3 colorless chant, but because we're playing this this card with the J ruler being Brunhilde, or Brunhilde of Spirits, remove target Resonator from the game. So this card has essentially replaced the slot of I think it's Closing the Gates of Darkness, the one cost chant from back in Rhea Cluster. The only major difference being that that one could only remove target darkness resonators, whereas this one can remove anything, and unfortunately this one doesn't have quick cast like Closing the Gates of Darkness did. But this is easily one of the biggest powerhouse cards that this deck has, and easily one of my favorite light chants that came out in the newest set, Strangers of New Valhalla. So yeah, I run 3 Blades of Faith. As before, I run 2, unfortunately no full arts, Voyage to the Floating Isle, chant, search your deck for a resonator with flying, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. This card is awesome because most of the resonator cards in this deck have flying, so it gives us a lot of versatility for what we want to play for 1. As before, the main workhorse of this deck are 4 Angels of Hope, probably never going to change that. She inverses to, I think, Angel of Despair on the other side. Yep, Angel of Despair, that makes sense. And yeah, I'm not going to go too much into it. This thing pretty much gets stronger every single time that I gain life, and there are so many ways to gain life in this deck. Plus, it's got flying and drain, so we can search it out, and it's going to be pretty much giving itself 1/1 counters from hitting and gaining life. The thing I love about this card is that it's low cost, and it can be used both defensively and aggressively, depending on how you play those Keep Alive cards that I've shown you guys, and I'm going to show you guys in the future, and the stuff in your Rune deck. So I run 4 Angel Lorinos of Hoparizo. Okay, funny thing, I don't think I actually mentioned this when I first did my Brunhilde deck profile, but I was looking through all of my extra cards from stuff that I got from New Dawn, and apparently I only ever pulled from 2 boxes 1 full playset of Spear of the Valkyries, which makes sense since it's an uncommon, but it kind of sucks, because anytime that I want to put, or anytime I want to make a new Brunhilde deck, which I'm working on right now, I'm working on a light darkness one, that seems to be the color combination of choice aside from just basic light, I have to take it out of this deck or put in proxies. Anyway, I run 4 Spear of the Valkyries. By the way, guys, if any of you got any full arts of this, and you want to hook up your buddy Masterfeja, just, you know, PM me. PM me and send me all of your awesome stuff. So, this card is phenomenal. Pay 2 more to play this card from a Rune area, but we're not. This card deals damage equal to the highest attack among J/Resonators you control to J/Resonator, to target J/Resonator. If you control a Valkyrie, you gain that much life. Since Brunhilde is our ruler, no matter what, we will always have a Valkyrie. I love these kinds of cards. It definitely kind of typecasts it to be in a specific kind of deck, but the fact that I don't need to have something on the field with that Resonator type is amazing. Or sorry, with that creature type. So I run 4 Spear of the Valkyries. You know the crazy combos. Again, I will link the previous video so you guys can hear a more in-depth version of the deck. Right now I'm just kind of going over updates. I still run 4 of these bad girls. She hits the field, gain life equal to number of runes. We go through our runes pretty fast, so she's going to be getting a lot of life. And then anytime she's in danger or anytime I want to gain more life, tap her, back to hand, cast her again because she's got quick cast. I run 4 of these, 2 in absolutely gorgeous full art. The Resonators didn't change too much in this deck. It was mostly Chants and stuff that I switched out, and Sideboard. I run 3 Xiangs. Yeah, no, they're great. You can use them aggressively. It's one of the only Resonators in the deck that don't have flying or drain, but with his sacrifice light gems to do damage equal to the amount of life that you gained. Not to mention the fact that if you actually have a Xiang in hand when you cast a Xiang, you gain 200 life for the panda in your hand. And then of course I always forget about his amazing God's Art, Ra's Blessing for 7, which would be super late game. If you're just getting absolutely hammered and you're down to a very low life, your life becomes 4,000 again. So it's just like, haha, just kidding guy, you thought you were gonna win, but nah. I run 3 Mephistopheles. Again, nothing has changed. This is phenomenal for slowing down your opponent's stupid Joan Field Rush-a-Dush moves in any deck that you're going up against that has crazy amounts of haste. Like for example, if your opponent is using, what's her face, Freyla, when a Resonator comes into the field, it comes in tapped. So Freyla, when she enters, she wouldn't be getting it, unless it's early game, of course. You have to summon your creature, but then it would hit the field tapped, and then she would have to like attack and then give that thing haste, but it wouldn't be able to because it's already tapped. So Mephistopheles is just phenomenal. He does flip over. Again, check out the video. You can see what he does. I almost never want to flip him over though, so not really a big issue there. Then I run 3. This is a new Resonator to the deck. 3 Dark Alice Doll. 2 of them in the promos that come with your box, and 1 of them in Glorious Full Art. She is a 3-drop, 2 light, 1 colorless Fairy Tale Doll Resonator for 4/10. Her attack isn't very impressive, but she does make up for it. She's got Flying and Drain, possibly one of my 2 favorite, keyword abilities. Whenever you gain life, this card deals 200 damage to target opponent or J/Resonator. This ability only triggers once per turn. This is a bit of a query to you guys, and I'm definitely going to maybe for sure going to go onto Reddit and then make a post on there just asking about it. So it says that this ability only procs once per turn. But does that mean the ability of this card specifically or the ability in general? Because you can potentially have 2 to 3 of these things on the field. You gain life from some source if it's not itself. And then would you be able to do 600 damage to your opponent or a Resonator? Or would you only be able to do the 200? I know that it means once per turn in that like you could do it during your opponent's turn as well, which I've done a bunch. But I'm not sure. It's a question. You guys can answer right below. If I haven't already instantaneously used the infinite orals of the internet to figure that out. Okie dockers, yeah, so I run 3 of the Dark Alice dolls. They're phenomenal. And really, if you think about it, if you're using her as a blocker, you're going to be gaining life from the drain, so she's kind of hitting for 6 if you're not using the damage directly to your opponent. So she's not bad. She's not bad. Plus that 10 will keep her alive way more often than you realize. Okay, now we're going to go into another Resonator that hasn't changed. I still run 2 of Ophiel. Ophiel, Angel of Guidance. I gave back Nova his glorious alt art, so you're not going to be seeing that beautiful gal in this deck anymore, unfortunately. She is a 5-drop, 12/12, flying, so we can search her out, Angel Resonator. She's phenomenal because you're really only going to get her late game. You play her, and then we're probably going to get an Angel, or no, not probably, we're definitely going to get an Angel of Hope back onto the field if there's one in the grave, just because there are no other Angels in this deck aside from that one, so it's just fun because for 5, you get her onto the field and then you get an Angel of Hope that you can use as a blocker. It's another source of life gain. Okie dokes, here is probably the biggest pride and joy I've got of the deck right now. I run 2 of the Misteltein, the Pious Sword Saint, one of them in Glorious Full Art and the other one in Glorious Alt Art. Okay, now tell me to my face that this character doesn't look like it belongs on like Zodiac Knights, or sorry, Knights of the Zodiac, or JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. I like to call her JoJo's Bizarre Pious Sword Saint. So she's a 5-drop, just like Ophiel, 12/12, just like Ophiel. Unfortunately, she's not an angel, and she doesn't have flying or drain, but her other abilities make up for it so much. She's got Enter. You may pay 2 less to play your next rune this turn. So that counts as runes in your rune deck and in your normal deck. So the turn she hits the field, you could potentially use Spear of the Valkyries right off the bat. And if she's the strongest one there, you just did 12 to something and you gain 12. Whenever you play a rune from your rune area, so specifically the rune area, put a target Resonator with total cost 3 or less from your grave into the field. You guys already saw, I've got 6 phenomenal 3-drops in this deck, so if I've got a Xiang in the grave or a Mephistopheles, this is a great thing to go off of. And her final ability, whenever this card blocks or is blocked by a Resonator, destroy that Resonator. I run 2 of them. I love these cards. I don't think I would ever run more than 2 though. If I ever did run more than 2, I'd probably just get rid of Ophiel in the deck as a block, but she's still good for getting more presence onto the board when I need it. Let's get into runes. Ooh, I think I might be missing a rune. Yes, I'm missing a rune. I will actually pause the video for a second. I'm gonna go grab the runes because one of the runes are actually in my new Adam deck. So, this card that I've put into both of my rune decks for Adam and Brunhilde now, it's kind of reactionary. I've been finding that the players in my play group at my locals like to do like really big 1-turn swing with either their J-rulers or some sort of like really beefy, enter the field and just do your thing kind of Resonator. So the first rune in my rune deck was never really something that I was super like chived about, really psyched about. I don't know words, guys, don't worry about it, just say words. I wasn't excited about it. And the card in question is Bewilder. Now, I don't like to play decks that are too reactionary, hence the reason why I don't like to play light too much. So I didn't really want to put Bewilder in either of these decks, but again, with the threat of just things coming in and just annihilating your face, like that new Kamimi that's like got swiftness and stuff like that, and it can body into one of your Resonators and your opponent just like sacks it or whatever. So it's a quick cast, 2 divinity for 1 light chant, oh sorry, not chant, rune, rest target J/Resonator. So it's, yeah, it's the first one, it's okay. I mean, it's necessary, don't get me wrong. I don't just run it for the sake of running it, but it's okay. Then I run Barrier of Faith. Oh, and just as a heads up, right now, because they finally released some 1-drop instead of just 0, 2, and 3 divinity chant runes and master runes, I'm trying to make all of my decks be playable with all cards. So we've got Barrier of Faith, a 1 light, Divinity 1 chant rune quick cast, prevent all damage that would be dealt by chance until the end of turn. I wish you could sideboard cards for your rune deck. Unfortunately, you can't. This would definitely be a sideboard card for me, but I get this feeling, it hasn't happened yet, but I get this feeling that the 3rd set is gonna be just a total bomb, like a massive explosion, no pun intended, for Fire. Fire has been hardcore neglected, or, you know, they've gotten some okay cards, but for the most part, the bulk of their cards are like mediocre. It's been mostly just darkness, green, and light I'm being redundant, for the most part. Blue has been hardcore shafted minus machines, so this is, trust me guys, just trust me, this card's gonna be useful. Then I've got Brunhilde's Wrath. It is a 2-cost, 1 light and 1 colorless. I think it's the highest divinity card in here. 3 divinity, rune, destroy target rest of J/Resonator. So, I mean, technically you could use this in tandem with Bewilder. You can tap their J/Resonator and then kill it with this thing. So, it's a good combo. It would cost the same as Blade of Lament, right? So, these 2 cards together are essentially the Blade of Lament of light right now. We've got Odin's Judgement. I think it's the highest cost card in my rune deck. It is 3 cost for 2 light and 1 colorless, Divinity 2. Play this card only for J Ruler is Brunhilde or Brunhilde, Caller of the Spirits, which is hilarious because her deck doesn't really work that crazy with spirits yet. Destroy all Resonators. Yeah. Unfortunately, unlike my Atom deck, there are very few ways of actually keeping things alive. So if you are playing this, do it as kind of a last resort, or if you've got something that you're just gonna smash with next turn, or if you're going up against one of those like Hanzo machine blue-green decks where they're just blarging creatures all over the field, and you're just like, nah, I'm gonna need you to slow down a bit. So that's a good card. And then the final card is Dispel. It's a 1-drop, 2 divinity for light, quick cast rune, choose 1, destroy target addition, or gain 1000 life. Destroying the target addition is usually the one you want to go for, but if you know you're not going up against something like Skyround, or going up against a Witch deck with mana fixing and the Diversity Palace or whatever, just gain the 1000 life. Just do it, man. Don't worry about all the other stuffs. Yeah. Okay, we've got stones, and I actually do have a fairly refined sideboard for this guy, so it should be good. Stones, pretty easy. We've got 1 basic light, 2 basic light stones, the beautiful holographic full art ones. I run 4, what? Oh, there we go, let's just stick it together. I run 4, 2 of them proxied, obviously, or from the Treasure Mountain, and just like last time, guys, it's just taps for light. It is a special magic stone. It's from the Panda deck, and what it does is that when it enters the field, I gain a light gem, which works with Xiang. So I run 4, 2 of them not so glorious, And then I run 4 of the Magic Stone of Hope, and this is the deck that has the only 2 legit non-proxy ones that I own. One of them in Glorious Full Art, and the other one in Not So Glorious, but still very glorious, real version card, instead of, you know, the paper slips. So yeah, these are the stones. And of course, the Magic Stone of Hope flips over, and then we get Darkness, and that's really only useful in this deck for when we're casting the inverse side of Flourishing Hope, which is Burgeoning Despair. Sideboard, we will just rip right through this. Sideboard, and most of this is literally just reaction cards to my local play group, and just certain decks that my deck isn't built in its natural deck state to deal with. So I run Separation of Fates. Separation of Fates has a lot of uses. It's a quick cast chant for 1 light. Target J/Resonator loses all abilities until the end of turn, draw a card. It's a good draw source. It can deal with Jones. It can deal with your pesky IU aggressions. And yeah, so I run 3 of those bad boys. And of course, your side deck. For anybody who doesn't know, this is your first time video. By the way, hey, thanks for choosing us. Hey, what's up? Hope you're having a good time. Name's Masterfeja. Hope you're having a good time. Okay, cool. This is your first video. Your sideboard cards, there's only 15 of them. You have to have exactly 15, no more, no less. I run 3 of the Aura of Hope, 2 of them in Glorious Full Art. It is a 1-drop quick cast Aura Chant, rest target J/Resonator. So it does the same thing as Bewilder. Again, this is another card to deal with IU. Shout out to my buddy who has a ridiculously good IU deck that I want to record at some point when we both are free. The thing is crazy. He can win turn 2. Most of the time he chooses to win turn 3. It's nuts. I run 3 of the False Peace. Another quick cast chant for 1. This one's also inverse. I can inverse to the other side. You gain 400 life, draw a card, then remove this card from the game and inverse it. On its inverse side. Whoop! On its inverse side, it becomes the card Deadly Pox. Unfortunately, it loses quick cast. Play this card only from your removed area. Your opponent loses 400 life and discards a card. So, oh yeah, so I guess this would be another card that we use the inverse side of Stone of Hope for. So I run 3 of the False Peace. Ooh. I love this card, but it is not nearly as useful in this deck as it is in the Adam deck, and that is Arrival of the Hero. Arrival of the Hero is a 2-cost for light quick cast chance. If you control a J ruler, so if we're on the Brunhilde J ruler side, you pay 2 less. This becomes free. Choose 1, prevent damage that would be dealt to resonators you control until the end of turn. So this is another one of those cards of keeping our stuff alive. It wouldn't work with what is it? Odin's Judgement, but whatever. Or Odin's Wrath, I don't know the card. Don't worry about it. Choose 1, yeah, the first one, and then the second one is destroy target rested resonator. The reason why I'm running this in sideboard is just because it's free. I mean, this deck does not have a crazy amount of draw like Adam, so we're not really that likely to see it, but it is free, and free is great, especially in this game. We're getting to the end of the sideboard here. We've got another 2 Barriers of Faith if I'm going up against a really heavy damage-based deck. Like I'm going up against a new green deck that's got ramp on those resonators, and then they sack it with that thunderclap ball thing, and it's like, hey, take 30 damage. And I'm like, no thank you, for 1. So I run 2 Barriers of Faith in my sideboard, and then the final slot in my 15-card sideboard is what would be a 4th Blade of Faith. If I need to just, you know, usually I'd probably just side this in whenever I'm going up against Teacher's Lucifer deck with a crazy amount of Jones, because, and actually this would work really well on Disgrace Knight as well, because you don't really want them to die, because then he's just going to use the March of the Undead or Disgrace Knight's activate ability to just like remove stuff from his grave and then have that thing blarg back onto the field. So you want to get rid of them. And it's just a phenomenal chant. Okay guys, this was the full Brunhilde updated deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, as my buddy Zan has been doing pretty much since we kind of like made this deck, yeah, just drop it in the comments. Once again, we're gonna have the original deck as one of the 2s that are probably gonna show up pretty soon here any second. Where's my other hand? One of these 2 areas here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, love your neighbor. Okay, bye-bye.